see how this goes.
Okay, so we are live and the webinar is being recorded, and I'm going to start the simulcast here.
Fantastic. All right.
Good morning, Beth.
Good morning.
Beth is here. And we're going to kick things off.
Yep.
Welcome everyone to the People Strategy Forum. My name is Jules, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of our audience, whether you're new here, whether you've been joining us for the last couple of years. We are really excited to have you here, really grateful for your company today. We are talking about inspiring your people with a purposeful business. So I will introduce our guest speaker in just a moment. Now, I'm going to run through these slides, but bear with me. Normally Sam is here. Sam is not here today. He is taking a well-deserved vacation. So I'm going to run these slides. Wish me luck. I'm not as tech savvy. You all know if you show up regularly, I love to talk. That's my thing. So, okay. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. Oh, wait, let me go back.
Yeah. There you go.
When Sam trusts me too much. All right. So, here we are. So if you don't know about the People Strategy Forum, maybe you stumbled across the forum somehow, somewhere. What we do every week is we are here to really engage, energize, and elevate your employees and your company. So we have a panel of experts. They have a great extensive background in things like HR, compensation, rewards, entrepreneurship. And then we find a guest speaker to help us out with a different topic every week. So speaking of the panel, as I mentioned, Sam, who is normally here helping us run things, is taking a break today. That's totally fine. But we do have Shah, who will be kind of jumping in Sam's place and, guiding the conversation. And you all know Shah, if you've shown up here before, she's a great conversationalist. So this is going to go smoothly once I pass it on over to her. She is an entrepreneur. She has worked as an HR professional, as a talent management expert, and she runs multiple companies now, including a career coaching business. She has a company in health advocacy as well. So very excited to have her here. We're rocking the blue today. And we also have Howard. Yeah. Howard works with Comp Team alongside Sam and his team there. He is a rewards and compensation strategist and expert, and he has years and years of experience implementing successful compensation programs in various companies. Sumit, who is normally here with us today, can't join us, but we will be thinking of him as well. So we're missing some of our main men, but that's all right. We still have a solid team here today. And that brings me to Beth Lefevre. She is our speaker today, and she is the founder of Master Life Inc. She helps build teams. She is an expert at inspiring and educating individuals. She helps professionals find their purpose and reignite their purpose. Because, when you do something over and over again, it's easy to get burnt out and feel like things are a little stale. So she reignites people's passions. She's worked with plenty of companies over the last 29 years. She is also a speaker. She has spoken internationally and hosted workshops in Australia, Europe, across the US. So very busy lady. So we're very grateful that she's been able to carve some time for us today. So Beth, welcome to the forum. We're so excited to hear your insights.
Thank you. Really happy to be here.
That's fantastic. Well, hi, Beth. We really appreciate your time. And I was just looking at your bio. I'm very intrigued. So your primary focus is team building strategies. But yeah, give us a little bit more about your background and who you are and what kind of services you provide.
So I started as an entrepreneur in 1990, back in the day when coaches were athletic. People talked about coaches. That's when you said a coach, it was athletics, right? And
Right.
So I have been doing this. I started working at the Florida Atlantic University and was helping the education team become a team. We had a lot of student teachers, and it just kind of morphed into this and this and this. And I kept finding what kept pulling me forward was working with people that loved what they do. Like every single time when I was on a team, it was people on this team love what they do. And so I said, well, we have to can this and make sure that teams love what they do and attract people who also love what they do. And it just kind of turned into, so I was doing that for a while, and I was at a training, doing a training, and in 2006, one of my instructors, facilitators, came in like crazy. Oh my God, you got to do this thing. She was like off the charts enthusiastic. By this time, I had done just about every personal growth training and business management. And I was like, fine, I'll do this thing, whatever it is. And I kept kind of postponing doing whatever she wanted me to do because I thought that I knew it all. Have you ever
Yep.
had those moments? Well, that was one of mine. I don't like to admit it, but it did happen. And finally, she said, at the end of, we had a 3-day training. I never gave her time. Finally, she said, look, I know you like food. I'm going to buy you lunch. We're going to do this thing and I'll drop you off at the airport. Well, I figured, hey, free lunch, I'll do it, right?
Right.
We were at the table and she gave me what's called the passion test, right? So I did the passion test. A few minutes later, I'm sitting at the table. The waiter, I swear to God, she bribed the waiter not to come to the table, right? And I'm sobbing. I'm absolutely sobbing, totally in my heart, ripped it open, and I realized, yes, I was doing what I loved, but it was hard. It was an uphill battle. And in that moment, I decided, you know what? I'm going to become an attractor instead of a tractor. I had been a tractor my whole life, pushing, pushing, pushing. And I said, you know what? From this moment on, I remember where we were. I am going to become an attractor. Did the passion test and have been with the passion test family ever since. Again, it morphed. Now my position is that of ASAP engagement, which is dealing with companies. So that's kind of the morph that I went into, and I get to live that every single day. So that's in a nutshell.
Wow, that's incredible. So who are your primary clients? Are they companies, individuals? What size of companies do you work with?
Okay, so there is no what size normal, right? It doesn't exist. My goal is really to inspire companies, right? Enhance them wherever they're at. Right now, the last couple months, actually, I've been working in Palm Beach County with the election board. So
Oh,
I am working in Palm Beach County, training trainers to do the elections, which is something that was not on my radar. So that's like okay, we're going to go over here. It's absolutely fantastic. I work with solopreneurs. I love working with large companies because I feel like, if somebody finds their passion individually, that's one person that shifted. But in a company, if people can find, the entire workforce can figure out what their passions are, then you have a shift in culture. And those people, if they're passionate, go home and infect everybody else.
mm-hmm.
So I like working, the larger the company, the better, because I feel like that, ripple in the pond is much bigger. So that's my favorite, although, I'll work with anybody who wants to move to a different level, to be inspired. And actually, not only to be inspired, but to inspire others.
Wow, very great. Love it. I love the passion. That's amazing. Here you are basically in an interview and you're literally crying kind of thing. No, but that really does show, that you're very passionate about what you do. So did you want to jump in and talk to us about some of your philosophies or strategies and
Sure.
maybe some of the things you like to coach companies about?
Very good. So the first thing, and you can actually do this on the call because I do a lot of interactive. I don't like to just talk to people, right? I
Right.
want to be interactive. And anybody who's listening, I want you to do the same thing. So the first thing is reconnect to something that you were passionate about. It might be a project, and maybe it was school, something that you would get up in the morning, jump out of bed, ready to do it, and then all of a sudden, the entire day had gone by, and you were like, oh my God, where did the time go? So, if each of you could just connect for a moment, really think about, when was the last time that happened? And then, if one of you would, if you're in touch with that, describe that passionate moment, who would be willing to do that?
Oh,
Just take a moment, really connect. Oh my God, I couldn't wait to do this.
Oh, I don't know. I think for me, I was absolutely ecstatic about getting into a talent management strategy position because I was doing traditional HR for all those years, and I got my master's degree. And then the day I started that position, it was kind of an experimental position with a large healthcare system. But I was super excited for the fact that I could finally put all my learnings and all those things over the years into practice because I was hired to be a strategist.
Nice.
So it was, I remember just when I got the job offer, I was like, oh my gosh, this is my dream job. Is there anything a dream job-ish? And the role was kind of crafted for my talents and skill sets. I mean, so that was even more ideal. Ultimately, a lot of corporate changes happened and they kind of went to more of a corporate approach. So my position was eliminated. But you know, for that time, I was really excited about that.
Cool. So that is called a passionate moment. You could
Yeah.
see, Shar, when you were talking about it, it was like, oh my God, this is my dream job, right? This is that moment.
Yeah, I was standing on top, literally here in Estes Park, where I'm staying right now. I was standing in snowshoes on top of a mountain when the recruiter called me with the job offer. So
All
it
right,
was,
another little bit of symbology right there. Oh my
yeah, I
gosh.
mean, I literally had just got to the summit and she called me, my phone service was working. And she's like, I'm happy to say we're offering you the job. And I remember it was like one of those, you know.
Yeah, no,
So,
I got chills when I was listening to you. You're at the summit, right? You're at the top of this
oh yeah,
mountain and you
it
get
was
your
really,
dream job.
it was crazy. And then we were walking back down the mountain and I just was sitting there going, I can't believe this just happened. So
That's what I'm talking about, right?
yeah.
Anybody else want to share a moment? If you've got one, you don't have to because we have that feeling. But if anybody else has a little moment they want to share, anybody? No?
Oh,
I
could
Go
think
we
ahead,
have
Howard.
it's me. I think, you know, we
Got
work with a number of different clients across different industries. And I think we have that, you know, I have that moment when things all of a sudden click and you know you're actually helping that organization and you're connecting with the people that you're working with on a kind of a deeper level than just the transaction. So
Yes.
when that happens, it's a special moment and it just makes you feel really good about what you're doing and your impact.
Very nice. That's exactly it. So when we talk about a passionate moment, it's how do we do the work, that kind of work? And it sounds like, Howard, that you continue to do that. You have those moments where you just go, this is why I do what I do, right? And I'm Shar too. I'm, all of you on the call. That's why you're doing these calls
Mhm.
because you want to make a quality difference for others. You are in the contribution business. That's really what you're doing, right? Because if it was just for you, you'd get the knowledge and hang on to it and do
Right.
well in the world. But what you're doing is you're handing this information off to others. And
Mhm.
that's what's inspiring. That's what a passionate moment is, right?
Right.
One of my favorite authors is Steve Farber. He just wrote a book called Love is Damn Good Business, right? Wonderful. But one of my favorite quotes from him is do what you love in the service of people who love what you do. Do
Absolutely.
what you love do what you love. So live your passions, but in service to the people who love what you do. And to me, that is in a nutshell what I get to do, the philosophy where first we have to connect with what matters to me. See, Shar, what you knew was you knew your dream job.
Yeah.
See, most of the people in the world don't know what they love. We know what we don't like. If you ask somebody, what do you love? They have a hard time coming up with 10 things, right? And so they put their attention on, I want to lose weight. I don't want this job. I don't want that job. And the truth is, we want to start putting our attention on the things that we absolutely love and then become an attractor. Remember, I said I stopped being a tractor and became an attractor? And that was because I got very clear on what are the things that matter most to me, first in my personal life, right? So that's where the passion test comes in. And then in my work life, transferred all that information over to well, if I can do this in my personal life and create amazing relationships, can't I do this in my business? And then turned it around to, can't my employees do it in my business? Right? So this was a moment where it's absolutely the ripple that says, okay, how can we replicate this? And that is exactly what I do with companies, is say, all right, you got to start here. If they're not willing to figure out what they love, and if they're in alignment, they're not going to promote anybody in their business doing the same thing.
Yes. Well, I love that terminology. You know, when you talk about the tractor, I think of you're planting seeds, right? You're planting abundance. It's not that you're plowing through the fields. You actually are attracting growth. And is that kind of what
Yes,
your
is
mindset
exactly it. And you know what? I know all, I like I said, I've been an entrepreneur since 1990. And it was a hard path, right? I learned this is what you're supposed to do, work, 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 work. And I'm not going to say it wasn't fun. It was rewarding, and it was really hard work. And when I got clear on the things that mattered most to me, all of a sudden the people, places, and things started showing up in my path. Now, it's not that they weren't showing up before, but I didn't notice them because I didn't even know it mattered. So it's kind of like, you get a new car. I got a little blue EOS sports wagon. It's a convertible. And the day I got it, of course, I started noticing all these EOS. Never saw them before in my life, right? Convertible. And that's the law of attraction. This is we all know this. But putting it into practice is, once I got clear on the things that mattered, all of a sudden those started showing up, and my tuner was tuned to that channel, right? And then it was like, you're thinking of somebody and the phone rings. This is all old stuff, but we forget that's how life works. That's how the universe works, right? And in business, we completely forget that doing what we love matters.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I am not saying bottom line doesn't matter. You have to see, the goal is to increase profits, right? But if you increase profits as a tractor, it's not fun. When I increase profits as an attractor, it's the fun part. Howard, it's exactly what you talked about, that spark, that aha, and you're like, oh, yes, this is the moment. Why? Because my client got something. That's you're going to get paid. We want to stay in business, right? And we love those moments where somebody else has those ahas. That's what fills me up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what you're talking about is a real positive approach, focusing on the positive psychology. I've said this many times. I think many leaders and executives like to look around and say, well, so and so is not performing, and the numbers aren't in such and such department, or
right,
the negative aspects of which leaders are not performing well, or what have
right.
you. I think it makes a great difference to focus on the positive and the potential of great leaders, and really bring to light, yes, everybody has some areas to work on, but so many of our leaders, I don't think the executives know their potential of what they can do, which will ultimately inspire the team to have a more positive attitude and approach, right?
I'm going to give you a really, what you're talking about is, first of all, often we don't even know the team we have. We don't know what they love. We don't know what their interests are. We don't know what motivates them. We don't know what inspires them. And so we give them benefits and ping pong tables and all these crazy things. We do. I mean, we've heard about it, right? And we don't check in with them. What is it that you love? You know? And this was cool. It was a little tiny team. It was a dental team, right? So dentist had his team. They were pretty close-knit team. They did the training, ASAP engagement, which means advanced solutions for activating passionate engagement. So they did that training, right? And in the training, it's part of the training is the passion test for business. And in that training is a moment where each employee actually does when my life at work is ideal, right? So now they get to look at, I think they had 10 employees, And when my life at work is ideal, and they wrote down the things that mattered most, and then there's a process, they come with their top 5. And once they have their top 5, they start putting all their attention on that top 5. Well, you can imagine what happened to the workplace, right?
Right.
Everybody was now engaged. Now, this was a surprise. They had a woman up front who was a receptionist. She didn't like people. They had a woman in the back. I know, crazy, right? Howard's laughing. We know that happens, right? A woman
Yeah.
in the back that was doing all the paperwork, kind of like a bookkeeper, but organizational. She liked people. Here's what they did. They did a test. They said, let's see for a month what happens, because they didn't know that's what they loved. There's a form. They got the form and said, let's see what happens. You have the same skill set, but you have different passions. Let's switch these 2 people around. The one in the back said, I was ready to quit. I couldn't do this anymore. The one in the front said, I hate people. They know it when we walk in, right? There was like the disclosure that said, let's see what happens. They thrived. They absolutely thrived, and they didn't have to lose anybody. You know, training new people in is one of the highest costs that companies have. Losing, retraining, losing, retraining. And in many companies, we did a company in Mexico where they had 3,000 employees. Okay, so they had 3,000 employees. Everybody on staff did the passion test for business, ASAP engagement. When your life at work is ideal, what does it look like? And they did a reorganization based on what people's passions were.
Mm-hmm.
And their net growth increased 1.4 million the following year. I don't know if it had anything to do with profits or people finding their passions, but I do find it a little bit interesting that they increased that much. And by the way, that company hired us to go in and train, and now they have an on-site group that helps their employees continually increase their passions and profits.
So do you think that it also needs to be incorporated into the recruiting interview process as well? Because
what a great question.
People can do jobs, but it doesn't mean they necessarily like the job that they're doing, as you pointed out.
Exactly what you said. So this company, the big one in Mexico, Hermosillo, Mexico, it's called Listen Up Español. I think they changed their name out now. But what they did is they said, we need to have this part of the recruiting process. That's exactly what happened. Now, all those new people that came in, first they were given an aptitude test. Are they able to do the job we need them to do? Number one. Number two, they were given the passion test. So they said, when my life at work is ideal. They then placed them according to what they loved. Now, here's what happened 2 weeks in. 2 weeks after those people had been in, recruiting came and they said, not recruiting, people in the department said, what are you doing different? And we said, we're giving them these 2 aptitude tests. One, what's their passions, and what's the other? They said, these people are gaining, it was a call center. These people's percentages are higher than people that we've had here for 3 years.
Wow.
They were like, I don't get it. Well, why? Because they put the people according to what they love in the positions that would benefit the business and the employees. Right? So it was a win-win for everybody, because now people are showing up. They created a production department doing films. Remember, it's a call center, and those call centers, there's advertisers, call now. You know, it was, you know, get this thing. Well, they started making movies of the products. They created a production team. They went out in the neighborhood and were asking people to use these products. Those products were selling twice as much as the videos that the companies that own those products had. And
Wow.
so you just start looking at, wow, they decided, I love doing these productions. They started doing them better than the authors of the services, the products they provided. The company started saying, we're not even going to send our videos anymore. You guys, what you're doing is better. So now there's all these people in the company that wanted to do filming and production. It's part of the company. That's part of their company. So those are the things that happen. You know, sometimes just letting people do what they love, they're going to do better. They're going to
Right.
show up at work wanting to do their job.
Well, I'm curious what your thoughts on this issue. I've really noticed now hiring signs everywhere. I was at a family reunion yesterday, and one of my relatives was describing that he finally wanted to retire because
Mm,
he was working people kept leaving, and
right.
then so 3 people left, and then he was doing the job of 3,
Ugh,
and then ultimately he decided to retire and move on, sadly. So, this organization is now left with no one. So I
right.
think also it's just strange. I was trying to get a car repaired this week because there was an accident, and we couldn't find any car repair places because of staffing.
Right.
There's all these holes in positions that are open. So it's one, to do the team strategies, but 2, it's to attract in a positive way people that
Yes.
want to work in their passions. So I
Yep.
do think that it's a real good way to attract great talent, to say we focus on positive talent, we focus on your passions, your ambitions, what your energy, excitement, enthusiasm about what you do. This is a very different organization than you've ever seen before.
Yes.
How
Yes.
I've said this to my employees. um, and I think it makes a big difference. And people say, you know what? I don't think I want to go anywhere else because you
Right.
really care about me and what makes me tick. Right.
And
So,
you really hit the nail on the head, right? So when talking about people's passions, we're talking about company culture. And I don't care if it's a small dental office with 10 people. One of the cute things they do every morning, so they check in, and as a team, they decided every single morning they were going to do a morning check-in, right? How you doing? How you doing? 2 quick words. They actually form a circle. How you feeling? How you feeling? What do you want to accomplish today? So it takes maybe 5 minutes for the entire team to go around. If somebody was in a horrible mood, they didn't try to change their mood. They just said, we're going to give you extra support today.
oh,
So we
nice.
created, can you believe it? So they didn't try to rah-rah 'em. They said, oh, today you're in this place. You're going to get extra support. Make sure that you tell us what you need. If you need bigger breaks, if you need to do a phone call, we will cover you. They wouldn't have known that if they didn't have that morning checkup. That became part of their company culture. Not only did they say we care about you, they took the steps to show the employees we care about you.
I love that idea. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I think all of us as human beings have off days. Um,
Absolutely. Life
and all of
happens.
us, or a lot of external factors. Obviously, I don't need to go through everything that's
Yep.
going on in our world today, but
Yep.
there's so many external factors that are affecting families, affecting people's mental
Big time.
state, and yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I think, and sadly, in the past, look, so Joe Blow's on the phone, or Joe, on the phone
Right.
again, what's
Right.
going on? And then next thing you know, it's a performance issue, never really addresses what's going on with Joe.
Right.
So,
Because how long would it take to say, hey, Joe, I've noticed something's up. What's up?
mhm,
Please share with me. I care about you. We don't have those mechanisms formulated in businesses to show that we care.
mhm,
Right? We just don't have them because, and I'm going to say, it has been 2 very, very rough years. It absolutely has been rough. People have been um, pushed to the emotional limits in very, very, not only in physical ways because of COVID, but because of what has happened. You know, it's hard to think about profits when you don't have employees. You don't have employees because you don't have customers. It is a vicious cycle. And so, with reason, I talk about, I do a lot of brain stuff. I'm a behavior management specialist, and we talk about the brain. People have been treading water for so long that it's hard to thrive when all you can do is survive, right? That's where we've been. And
yeah,
so,
I love that phrase. Yes.
yeah, I mean that, everybody's been treading water. Sooner or later, you get tired. It's like, I just need to back float for a moment, right? And so we don't have built into our businesses, we never took the time to create a culture that says, this is how we take care of our people.
Mhm.
So it was cool. So this morning I have been working. I actually So did 57 hours last week working with Palm Beach County. Now, I have been doing part-time. I have not worked that much in forever. Now, I loved every minute of it because I'm training, right? So it was an absolute blast. I loved it. But the candle I was burning at two ends, right? Because then I'd come home and cook and wash clothes, and I still have a family.
Yeah.
And today I said, you know what? I called up my massage person. We usually have a regular massage. I said, I need early. I need 9:30. I need this and she came in, did it, gave me extra time, came home, got to put my makeup on. I feel completely different because I did that, right? So me taking time for me, filling up my cup, and I don't care if it means, back in the day, I would buy a box of C's candies. I'm not doing a commercial, but that's what I loved, right? And when you're wonderful, you offer them to everybody else. No, I kept them in my closet. Those were my candies. If I decided to invite somebody, that was cool. And some people would say that was selfish. And I go, yes, it was self-full.
Right.
I do things to fill up my cup because I can't give to anybody else until I fill up my cup. And that's really what we want to train entrepreneurs, business people, and ultimately your employees to fill up their cup. And to give them methods and ways to do that won't take away from the company. Right? How do we create employee engagement doing what that particular employee needs? And there's many, many methods to do that. We actually create a culture action plan that incorporates how do I create employee engagement doing what they love. Well, the first thing you got to do is a survey. What is it that you would want? It's like so simple. If we could do anything for you, what would you want? And they basically say things like more flex time, time with my family, I'd like to come, things that are so easy to accommodate. They truly are easy to accommodate, but we don't know what they want. We haven't taken that time.
Yeah, some people love working 57 hours in a week, makes them feel valued and important. And others, particularly different generations may want to travel or do some flex time. I think comp team is great, working with Howard and Sam and the comp team with really looking at compensation from a different viewpoint. It's not just the weekly paycheck or the monthly paycheck. It's also about all those other types of benefits, and that's part of the reason with my company. We actually wanted our employees to work 25 to 30 hours a week. We preferred that our employees, and I always said, please have another ambition as well, because the volatility of this industry and ultimately that did happen. Thank God my employees had other positions because we did had to temporarily lay off our people. But they, that's like the biggest fear is to lay off employees. But if you already have them prepared mentally, have other positions, have other passions, we support you to go to training, to really live your passion. So when we did have to do the temporary layoff in last December, I could sleep at night, because my people were okay. My people were okay. They still had other. So I think just having that proactive creativity and really exploring these options. Also, I think sometimes, no offense to the CFOs, but sometimes it's the financial guys and financial people that say, no, that's too expensive. We can't handle that. Or, that's not acceptable. Oh, yes, you're going to have higher productivity, higher profits.
Absolutely.
Right?
I do want to make a comment. I don't speak for everybody. I really choose. There must be an alignment with the companies that I work with. That's my number one. I don't care how much you're going to pay me. If I have to go in, this is a little joke, if I have to go in and do dentistry, if I have to go in and pull teeth and make people shift, I don't want to do that, right? I like working with companies that are aligned. And one of the first things I did way back was I actually went into the website, comp team, and I went through and I said, oh, I took the time to look at, I like this company. It feels like a good fit. We're doing the things that work with me, right? And so thank you, because it showed up even on the website. It truly did. You can see those things, the wording, phraseology, those things show up in a website only because you know what you're doing, and you're again, you are in the contribution business.
Well, you might find it interesting. Thank you, Beth. I mean, you are joining hundreds of other forum recordings of other professionals, like-minded professionals with varying different types of talent management strategy approaches. And oftentimes as a sole HR leader, I have to say from personal experience, sitting on an island trying to solve world hunger and trying to figure out how to do talent management strategy differently.
Yeah.
And then kind of against the brick wall, no offense to executives that kind of have the
Yep.
traditional mindset.
Yep.
It's very challenging to change the organization to a different mindset about team development, talent strategies that are very out of the box and very non-traditional in thinking.
Right.
We know that even the older employees, it's not just the younger employees, it's are looking for a different kind of company altogether. They're sick of the old traditional stuff. I've had so many people tell me they're so sick of the traditional type of mindset. They're willing to take a pay cut just to go to a different company with a better culture.
And that's across the board. That is absolutely, all the signs when we see all of these that are can't get people to work, can't keep people to work. Well, my question is, what are you offering? Like when people come into work, I don't care if it's a restaurant person, if it is a cleaning department, what it is, they have to have a reason that they are there, a personal reason. And I'll give an example. I just had a thought. So we were, this is a perfect example. So somebody was in this company. We were in Mexico doing a training. And we did When My Life at Work is Ideal. All right. By the way, I speak fluent Spanish, so I got to go down there and do all the trainings in Spanish, which was very fun. So we were doing it, cuando mi trabajo es ideal, when my life at work is ideal, right? And this gentleman came up with, I don't really like this job. I don't like it, right? And by the way, that's the biggest fear in businesses is if I do this training, people are going to discover they don't like what they're doing, right? Now, here's what's cool. During that training, not only do we do what do I like at work, what matters most at work, but we go a step lower and say, why do I do it? How does it enhance my personal life? So he discovered, Francisco, his name was, I don't really like what I do. When we did the step lower that said, well, let's see why you do what you do. Why are you putting up with this paycheck every week, right? And he said, I get up, I hit the snooze alarm, you go to work, you do your job, you sit by the water cooler, waste as much time as you can so you can get your paycheck. And you guys are smiling, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So when he discovered why he did what we do, and we call those core passions, he had renewed energy. He absolutely came in and he said, oh my gosh, I feel completely different. And we're like, Francisco, how come? He came over and what he told me blew me away. I was in the car. By the way, Janet and Chris Atwood, Janet Atwood, I want to give them credit because they're the authors of the Passion Test. And I was in Mexico with Chris Atwood when this happened. He came over to the car and he said, I have to tell you what happened. One of the things that matters most to me, he goes, yeah, I don't like this job very much. But one of the things that matters most to me is my family. I have a son who wants to go to college. We don't have enough money. Remember, it was rural Mexico. And I just separated from my wife about 6 weeks ago, and I don't like it. I'm not happy with who I am. He said, when I discovered why I was doing what I was doing, I realized my family is more important than anything in the world. And all of a sudden, this job was about, I'm going to start crying, was about showing my family how much I love them.
Aww.
He said, I'm doing this because they matter more than anything in the world. And he said, I want to keep coming to work so that I can contribute to my family. He said, not only that, at the end of the training, I called my wife and I said, I'll do whatever it takes for us to get back together. Fast forward. Yes. Fast forward is funny because I'm translating. I speak Spanish, Chris does, and I'm translating to Chris. And he looked over at me and he said, oh, and we thought we're just teaching a business course. Right? It was truly one of those moments for us where we realize living your passions, doing what you love in work and in personal life affects every single part of your life. It
Mhm.
enhances it or depreciates it, either way, however you're feeling. Well, I'm going to fast forward 6 months later. We went back. There was not even 6 months, it was 3 months later. We went back and there was a Christmas party. And he came running over, Francisco. He was a Mexican guy, great big hat, had cowboy boots on, speaking Spanish. And he says, I want to introduce you to my wife. We did get together. They were dancing cheek to cheek the whole time. And in that moment, it was one of those moments, Howard, where you just go, this is why I do what I do. And it happened because this company actually put time into their employees to say, you need to find out what it is you love, or at least why you do it. Now, here's what happened to his work. He actually showed up happy, excited. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And he got a promotion, ended up doing what he loved. So it's like, even if you don't love what you do, give it your all, because then you will get promoted or moved to a job that absolutely supports what you love.
Yeah.
Here's another example. I could keep going. You get me, you press buttons, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
You go into, this is simple. All of us know it. You go into a restaurant, right? And somebody comes over and, can I take your order? And it's like, oh man, no matter how amazing the restaurant is, that is not going to be a good dinner, right? You go into a dive and somebody comes over and they're like, woohoo, how can I help you? I want to serve you. Is this okay? They come back, not obnoxiously, but truly because they love what they do. They want to serve you. That is a 10-star experience. You can tell everybody about that restaurant. So, okay, I'll calm down for a while. But that's what I'm talking
No,
about, those
I
passionate
love the
moments.
stories. That makes it more meaningful, and hats off. I mean, technically, legitimately, creating that environment for what's his name, Francisco,
Yes,
to have the allow for the vulnerability,
yes,
because it's not just about gender, but you're not supposed to cry at work,
that's right.
Um,
Especially not a Mexican man, right?
yeah, but I mean the
I
vulnerability
just
and authenticity.
stereotyped, but you know what? I'm
Yeah, I know.
sorry.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, we can't stereotype, but it's just. I
But we
think.
know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's great that he opened up, was honest
Yes,
with his feelings, and felt like I'm not going to get fired if I tell my company that I'm just not happy with my job.
yep. It was amazing.
I have a safety aspect. Psychological safety is something we talk about a lot. That,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that's fantastic. What a great story. And you do impact lives. I mean,
Hmm.
having a negative work culture can affect families and people personally. What do you think, Howard?
I was thinking, it's clearly this is beneficial to both the employees and to the company. So why is it that so many companies won't embrace this? Is there a fear of getting into the emotions of your employee population? What's the reluctancy?
I think it's in the past we have been taught that there is a line that we don't cross. There's
Mhm.
business and there's personal.
Right.
And the reality is they're highly intertwined.
Mhm.
It's like when you walk in, you leave everything that you did at work by the door. And when you walk into work, you leave everything that happened at home. And it's a nice saying, but
Right.
emotionally, it's impossible unless you shut those feelings off every place. Like you can't pick and choose, where am I going to be emotional, where am I not? We
Mhm.
we learn to numb out. Oh, at business, I need to be business-like. You don't talk about emotions. We don't become emotional. And yet, and then that means you're not passionate either. Like if you got to turn down the crap, you got to turn down the passion, right? And so that's the truth. And so if we can find a place that says, you know what, there is a time and place for this. I don't walk around crying at work, right? Every now and then I do, I must admit, right? I've been at places where I've started crying. And people understand what it's about, right? There are times when I say, hey, this is not a really good time for me. I'm in a place right now, we've got stuff going on in the family, but I let them know so that they understand why I'm not me that day. This is not the day that I can support you. This is the day that maybe I need a little support, right? And we have been taught to separate those. And what ASAP engagement does, number one, we start with management, with owners, with entrepreneurs. I always start at the top, because if they don't have a support system to create a company culture, where engagement occurs, where we take away those lines, right? I always start at the top. If they're willing to be vulnerable, this is what matters most to me. Communicate it to the employees. Most of the time, I've actually never see it not work, where then the employees drop their, they feel safe and they can say, oh, this is what you love. Well, I can't wait now to tell you what I love. Because now we're a workforce that says, how can I make sure that Howard's doing what he loves, that Jules is doing what she loves, share, we're all loving this moment. See, I don't have time to do mischief if I'm loving what I do. I just don't have time to do that. And nor do I want to, because now I fall in love with the people around me. And I really use that term. So I just started working at the city, right? I just started working in Palm Beach. And everybody has their own very particular personalities. And when you see the strengths, and I think, Shar, you started with that, everybody has the stuff they're not good at, everybody, right? And everybody has strengths. And so my goal when I'm there is to bring out their strengths. Oh my God, somebody did a training and they were fantastic in this area. You might want to work on this, but I always start with, this was amazing. You got me cracking up in the back. It's election trainings and people are having fun. Who could ever think of that in this day time, time and era, right? All the election stuff, people get crazy about it. And yet these people are having a blast. So you get to look at and enhance those qualities of every single person on the team. But if I don't take the time to find out where do these people excel, then I can't enhance that.
Yeah, you're right. People bring their whole selves to work. As much as we
That's
think
right.
they're only there to do the job, there's a whole other side of people where if you engage that, as you mentioned, you're going to get that much more productivity and excitement and enjoyment from your employees.
Yeah, it's so cute. I'll say something. We do a training, then I'm in the back of the room watching, and somebody has me cracking up. And I'm just like, oh my God, you were having so much fun. I said, where did that Cecile come from? I just had this comment the other day, and she's been in there. She's been in there. She feels safe enough now to express herself in that way because there is a company culture that has been created that it's safe to have fun at work, because then the people you're training, people are walking out saying, oh my God, this is the best training we've ever had, because they're having fun. Now they're getting the information they need, but they're having a blast doing it, right? And so the reason I mention that is because I could have just had fun and not said anything, but the moment I said something, her face just kind of went, oh, yeah, I tried something new, and somebody noticed and they acknowledged me for it. Now she's going to do that way more often. She is going to absolutely stretch a little bit, shine, have fun, make a joke, where normally she probably would have thought, ooh, was that okay? Did I cross a line? But somebody took the time to acknowledge that. And I think that's also something at work, because there's so much competition that occurs. We're afraid to acknowledge others if they are better at us at something. Like that, if I acknowledge somebody, that decreases me. No, it enhances the entire team. And I think that's another, Howard, when you said something about what has happened, we stop acknowledging people's specialness, real true specialness, because there's competition and they're fearful.
Great. So Jules, are we getting any questions from on the chat right now?
I saw like Daniel raised his hand, but I don't know if that was, let me see. Let me get to the.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Not really.
No, I don't think, no. Okay. I think it might have been, I just popped into the Q&A and okay. So I don't think you had a question, but that's all right. But we are almost, I know, Shai, you kind of need help with timekeeping because I know you don't have a clock. Oh,
I don't have a watch.
That's fine. That's why I'm here in the background, lurking. So I just want to take a quick break because as always, we love to give a shout out to our sponsor, TMA. And this actually perfectly aligns with everything we've been talking about. We're talking about passions and talents and finding what works best for you. And the TMA method is great for that. They offer a bunch of great assessments, including a talent assessment. So because they are our sponsor, we do offer a free talent assessment. So you can email support@comteam.net. It takes about 15 minutes. It's pretty quick, and it'll dive in using a positive psychology method to find your talents, explore your strengths, your weaknesses. So it's a really, really good tool. And we talk about it all the time. I know Shai uses it a lot in her business as well. So we always speak to the TMA method. And then for next week, just want to share our guest for next week, John Vautier, with how you can create and build your executive presence. So tune in for that next week, same time next week. And I'm going to give it back to Beth because, yes.
So Beth, well, first of all, I also just want to really emphasize, Beth, you may be really interested in this assessment that we also offer. We'll also provide that to you.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, we've applied it with positive approaches to really understand passions, interests, drives, talents.
Nice.
It's a great conversation tool. It's really, I mean, my company's also shown, of course, it was way more than just this process, but my employees appreciated that we really handled performance management strategy very differently and talked about these conversations so we could have the Francisco conversations, which ultimately led. So yeah, we love TMA. And but for you, Beth, how do people get a hold of you? Do you have a website? Do you have a workshop, or what is it you'd like people to reach out to you with?
So my regular page is being rebuilt, all right, because I've added some things on. I have another place. It's called moneylifefreedom.com, and that's a temporary site. I do some personal stuff. So that's Money Life Freedom, because one of the things is when you're doing what you love, you enhance your abundance. And so that's really cool. Not only do you enhance your life, you enhance your abundance. So it's moneylifefreedom.com. And then you can contact me. My business that I'm rebuilding, the website is Master Life Inc. So you can contact me at Beth@Master Life Inc. because we want you to master your life. That's pretty much it. Master Life Inc. like incorporated.com.
Well, this has been a great conversation. I love the actual real examples. People don't always like training.
Yes.
And thank you, Jules. Thank you for posting that. So, thank you so much. I think we're about to wrap up, right, Jules?
Yeah, we have a couple minutes. So if anyone has any questions, or I think what Daniel was trying to say was, for some reason, our chat's disabled. So if you do have a question, we have the Q&A in Zoom. So it should be next to where you can raise your hand at the bottom. So you can type any questions in there. I'm not sure what's going on. We should be able to see your comments, but you can use the Q&A. And I've also left the website for Beth. So hopefully you can see that. But again, it's moneylifefreedom.com and Beth@masterlifeinc.com.
Perfect.
Touch with her. Oh, okay. Thanks, Samia. So actually we do have a question. Thanks for popping it through. So it is, can we get a copy of the passion test?
Oh, well, you can find it on Amazon, or you can go to thepassiontest.com. I think they have it there, but you can go to Amazon. It's listed there. The Passion Test book is amazing. It will start you on that process. They actually have a system of how you can give yourself the passion test. They also have, I believe, a place that you can contact a individual facilitator, and they can take you through the passion test. So I did want to offer, by the way, any businesses, I didn't offer this. I do a 33-minute free consult just to see if I can be in service to you, answer questions. So I really allow, it's 33 minutes, and there's a whole reason I go into later on about why that happens. But in 33 minutes, we can find out, number one, can I support you in your business? And number two, can I personally answer some questions you might have? So if you're interested in that, just send a note. Beth, I was on this wonderful call, with the People Strategy Forum, and I would like that 33-minute free. So I just offer that to anybody. As long as you mention them, send me an email, we'll set it up. I just want you to know that's, just like I'm choosy about my businesses, I'm choosy about my clients, and I want to make sure that we're a good match. So I spend that time supporting you, and I don't do sales. I actually find out what it is that matters to you, because that's what I love. I love making a difference to people. So I
love that.
wanted you to know that.
Awesome offer. Thank you. That's really generous too. Like 33 minutes it's a lot of time when you know you're going like back to back with people. So guys, hop on that. I mean, if you want to be the next Francisco, I mean, here's your chance. So don't miss out.
Well, thank you so much, Beth. It's been a pleasure having you on today. I'd love to have you back if we can. Maybe, later on in the year, we'd like to hear more.
I would love it. Love you guys. Very cool.
All right. Well, thank you all
for hopping in place of Sam and doing an awesome job and just diving in and keeping that conversation going.
Yeah, I like doing Sam's gig.
Maybe we'll just kick him out now and then make it the Shah show.
No. My teammate says I like to be the center of attention, so I'm working on sharing that light there.
Hey, thank you for the invite. It was absolutely wonderful working with teams that love what they do and that shows. So I appreciate it.
Well, great. Well, thank you all. You have a wonderful rest of your July. And
stay cool, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
All right. Bye.